Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. Today I want to talk to you about a topic, is collecting dying? And I know Friday is usually Masterpiece Transformers Day, but I gotta say, July I have seen every single category of collecting slow way down. The worst July I've seen, and a lot of people are like, well, but we just had a record super crowded SDCC. People that were at SDCC are saying that a lot of these exclusives that always sell out didn't sell out completely, and a lot of stuff was getting sent back to the warehouse as if people were at San Diego Comic-Con for other reasons than the collectibles. Today we're going to talk about the symptoms of this, the symptoms of collecting dying. It's not dead. No. It's not dead. There's no reason to go out and stick a fork in it and call it dead. But we are going to talk about this. We're going to talk about 7 different toy lines, 6 different toy lines, and how it's the same thing across all toy lines. And I'm seeing it, and I'm going to go into the exact reasons why. Coming up. Alright, since it is Friday we talk about Transformers. I'm going to start with 2 Transformer stories. So this is Retro and Rewind, and he's talking about why he stopped collecting Transformers. Now, go to his channel, watch his video, and he did do a good job of kind of explaining the issues with collecting Transformers today, especially Hasbro Transformers mostly. And the thing is that there's a couple of things going on with this video. Number one, if you look at the title, it's kind of a negative title. A couple weeks ago, I made a video talking about people are flocking to negativity. When you make a video with a negative title like that, it gets a lot of views. It's his top video, and it's one of his most recent videos. Top video for like 2 months. So you got to go like 2 months to match it. So that kind of proves that point also. But he made a really good point. And here's the main point. I'm not going to talk about everything he talked about, but he made a really good point. He was saying that Hasbro would release a figure, and it's a good figure, and then they'd make a slightly better one, and a slightly better one, and a different one, and then finally you get exactly what you want in the end as the 5th version. And I was like, that sounds like Galvatron. He said, and with Galvatron, it's really funny because I was reading his mind, but there's other characters out there. I think Cup came out and he looked okay, but then he wasn't perfect. And then they came up with the perfect one for the Buzzworthy Bumblebee, which I think is like the best Cup Hasbro's ever made and all that kind of stuff. But with all this, this picture is, I think, a screenshot from Super Robot Ed. But I see this with a lot of figures all the time. And yes, it's frustrating. I mean, it's every toy line. Every toy line is doing this. This is part of the reason why Star Wars is struggling, because the Black Series is cannibalizing itself with the characters that they put out, the same old characters over and over, when there's at least 25 classic characters that haven't been touched. The other issue here, which I didn't make my own video about it because I had no experience with this. I did not pre-order this stuff. I didn't, first of all, I don't need the Prowl. I am still going to pick up a Starscream because I'm going to get the new Seekers. I think they look pretty cool. So I'm not completely done with the Hasbro stuff, but they're all getting canceled. People are losing their minds over this canceled orders as if they've never pre-ordered anything from Target before. Like, we literally just saw this whole situation with Star Wars and the Retro series, and now the Retro figures. Those even went on clearance after a while. So the same thing could happen here, but I doubt it. I truly believe Transformers is way more popular, way more collectors collecting Transformers. So Starscream is going to be a bit of a challenge for a while. Even when it sort of comes back into stock, it's going to take a while, because people are going to be gobbling them up and trying to put them on eBay, because now that they see this trend going on. And so you got to work through that. I personally believe there's enough stock in the system. There's going to be enough in every Target eventually for everyone to get one that they want. And then that would not only get the items out there for the right price, but it'll bring down prices on eBay if you don't have a Target near you and you can't order them online. But what usually happens, though, is eventually they're just up for order on Target, and it seems like they have an endless supply for about a month or two. So my advice is do not buy these 125, 189, these really expensive ones on eBay. You will kick yourself down the road. All right, so let's get into talking about this. What are the symptoms that I'm seeing? And I've been seeing this for a while. I've already pointed some of this stuff out, but I'm going to put it all together in this video. I'm seeing that BBTS is not selling out of their stuff. And we can go back further. They're even liquidating things down to like $45 Super 7 figures down to $11, which now they're all gone. They're all those $11 figures I warned you, I gave you a heads up about, are all gone. They're all on wait list, meaning sold out. But let's talk about the wait list real quick. BBTS is an excellent tool. It is a resource for collectors to see what's hot, what's not, what's selling, what's not selling. And with the waitlist feature, I think BBTS has enough channel power to say, hey, I've got 2,500 people that want this. We'll order 2,000, or we'll order 3,000 from you, or something like that, if you can do another run. And that's basically how it works. And the way it works is, if you put it on waitlist, you basically ordered it. You've pre-ordered it, and they'll treat it as a pre-order if you waitlisted it. So I would research that a little bit more myself, but it's basically a pre-order. If they get more in, or they place an order for 2,500, you're getting charged for it. You'd have to go in and cancel it after that, but more than likely you're going to be excited to get it, so that's kind of cool. The problem is if stuff doesn't sell out, like standard stuff, which this is the Super 7, I got a lot of pictures to show, so I just got to work through them. But let's say the classified stuff doesn't sell out, or the popular Transformers don't sell out. That's an issue, because that is what the mainline collectors are wanting, the average collector is wanting. Obviously, exclusive stuff's going to sell out. This wait list on these figures here, that's Walmart exclusives. I don't know how BBTS got a small supply of them. I saw them when they went up. I was shocked they sold out in like 5 days. But then again, I'm not, because they probably didn't give very many. But if you get your standard bread and butter and gravy, biscuits and gravy, your standard stuff isn't selling out, then that's an issue. That means that there's less and less interest in it. And again, none of the mask stuff is sold out. Now, yes, they have QC issues. Yes, they're massively overpriced. I believe anywhere between 40 to 70% overpriced. And we'll see that when they clearance them out. And actually, Loyal Subjects already did sort of somewhat clearance out the last of the 40th anniversary. That's all gone. But if you can't sell the standard stuff, there's not enough regular collectors interested for the line to continue. And that's the way I feel. I've always felt that way. I've always felt like if you can't sell this stuff and you're having to end up clearancing it down the road, then it's just not viable going forward. There's not enough people that care. So BBTS is a huge indicator. And let's get into, I would say this right here. So people are like, stuff still sells out, Mike. I don't know why Pulse has the lowest quantity out of any one of these online retailers. It's almost like Nerdzoic stocks more than Pulse does, is the way I feel that way. I mean, if we were to look at quantity of inventory, Nerdzoic is a small operation in comparison, and I think they stock more. I really do. And so anyway, this is now available at Amazon. So I did put in my posts a link to it so where you can get it. If you really want this, pre-order it. They don't charge you till it shows up. And so that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing. But sold out here, going to other retailers, I'm curious how many of these are going to make. See, they've done it in the past where they reissue something and they change the color of it, and then they produce like 4 times the number. Kind of like when they took the Vamp and they made it into the Stinger, and then they made a million Stingers, but only 12 Vamps. I don't have production numbers, so I just have to guess, right? Also, while we're on this topic of stuff not selling out like it used to, I do want to touch on a few more things before we move to the next topic. But this is TF Source, and yes, people will say they still have stuff in stock because the price is higher than everywhere else. That is a factor. That is a factor. But they're not sold out of Fans Toys instantly like you see with other places. Although they are sold out of Rambo, and they are sold out of the Mirage X. But there's still a lot of stuff they have either in stock or up for pre-order. And if you go back a few years, this would be like 3 or 4 things available, and that's it. Next, I want to touch on No Haslab. A lot of people have talked about this. I really haven't discussed this yet, and I'm saving it for this video, I guess. So the No Haslab for G.I. Joe Classified and others, there's no Haslab for Star Wars that I know of, because that would have been an STCC announcement. I believe that it's tied to the fact that they struggled to get the Snowcat through. So the Snowcat in my opinion, it's much bigger than it should be. And if they would have made it a made-to-order release, it would have been smaller. But also the writing on the wall with the whole G.I. Joe line and what's going on. And, I mean, I feel like G.I. Joe has a lot more steam left in it than Star Wars. But at the same time, I think the days are numbered on the line. Just having enough interest to carry it forward. And it always feels like Hasbro just wants to stop making G.I. Joe anyway. But with this struggled. Like, there were videos everywhere about people thinking it's not going to make it, worried it's not going to make it, and it still made it, but it's one of the lower performing Haslabs for G.I. Joe Classified. But I want to say that that's an eye-opener. At the same time, though, they say they are going to do a Transformers one, but the Transformers one is a lower price point and doesn't have all these extra figure unlock tiers that are already priced into it. I also want to say that I would like a Transformers Haslab to be a Metroplex, but I want to dial that back, and let's really peel this onion back. A Metroplex should be a mainline Titan class release, a G1 Metroplex. Now, they just did make that other one. I don't know if I have a picture of it. Cybertron one, so I'm not going to bother with a picture of that, but instead we'll just look at more pictures of this. And the Generations one was good in 2013. It's great. It's a great one. I'm just impressed that they made it, but we're due for an actual G1 one, and before they're done with the G1, because it's not going to last forever. They're not going to make G1 predominantly forever. So with that, it needs to be a Titan class at retail. They'd probably still price it $250 or something stupid like that instead of the original price of like $119, what this was. Literally, if they made a new one this day and age at retail and made 100,000 of them, they'd charge it $250, more than double. But look at those numbers. They could make 100,000 of them. They'd probably do a run of 50,000 and then another 50,000 in a couple of years, instead of just 28,000. I want to say that the next point, there's less stuff at retail. Less retail outlets that are even carrying these mainline items that we purchase. And with that, I do see like third party and Masterpiece Transfer and all that. There's more outlets in a way, but then there's also older ones that are dying off. They are closing down. I'm not sure if TF Safari is still in the game or not. I need to check into that. But anyway, there's no G.I. Joe Classified and no He-Man stuff at least half the Walmarts around here, if not 60% of the Walmarts around here. So that's just, it's sad, but it's just a fact. This is a symptom of collecting dying. It is a symptom. And you know what? It's okay, because toy aisles are really supposed to be for kids. But it is kind of nice that there's stuff for us there too. I'm just going to put that out there. But this is a symptom. Let's get into the next topic here. And this is another symptom. More collections for sale. Everywhere I look, there's people selling off collections. I'm personally getting rid of my excess G.I. Joe Classified. I'm getting rid of 90% of my Hasbro Transformers. But I'm not done collecting, but I'm done collecting those. And then the example I showed you, there's another example of video that I watched where the guy owns a toy shop and he got a collection for like $650. and it was like 95 figures, and some of them were the rare ones, hard to give. They were all loose. None of them were in the package, and he got a pretty good deal, I think. But it's just an example of more and more and more people dumping entire wholesale collections and just getting out of the game. And I see it all the time. I know it's Friday, we talk about Transformers. The same thing is done with Transformers too. It's just the examples I've been able to find lately are mostly Star Wars and G.I. Joe. The next one, and I've made a video about this already. See, this is piecing together some of my old videos into this topic. But money. People can't afford this stuff anymore. And so this is no longer a symptom of it. This is the exact reason why collecting is dying off. Prices are going through the roof. I will say this, though. The third-party Masterpiece Transformers are still about the same pricing structure we've seen. They are slightly higher. But when you look at, like, G.I. Joe Classifieds after tax are $30, that's NECA pricing versus a toy. You're really getting into higher-end collectibles versus just a mainstream toy on a toy aisle. Makes it a lot harder. Same thing with just the deluxe. The smallest category of Transformers being $30 after tax is an issue because of the fact that that's premium pricing. And people no longer can afford all of this. See, a lot of people started collecting in 2020 and 2021, 2022, 2023. When that money was getting showered on people, it was easy to buy the stuff. But now, when you don't get that extra money just getting showered on you, and let's put it this way. I asked about 30 people that I know, that I see on a semi-regular basis, which, by the way, during this time frame, I saw more people from my past than I've ever seen. I didn't stay locked up in my house. I was out talking to people and just doing things. 99% of them said that's the most money they've ever made in their entire life. And still to this day, most of those people have not made more money than they did during that era. And so that's a problem. People working 2-3 jobs to try to get by can't afford $30 a figure for the cheapest figure they can find. The next issue is time. Time is running out. When you're working 3 jobs to get by, or working a main time job, 2 or 3 side hustles, or a full-time side hustle, and you just don't have time to enjoy it. And to be spending this much money on a collection that you can't truly enjoy, it makes people stop and think, why would I keep spending this? Why would I work so hard? So yeah, the money and the time definitely go hand in hand. But if you spend the money, you want to have time to enjoy what you're buying. I've already shared my story about this, but when I was working a minimum of 10 hours a day, that was the shortest day I'd ever get to see, and up to 19 hours a day. When I had a little bit of free time, and I wanted to open up a Soundwave, and then I got called back to work 5 minutes into it. Maybe it was 20 minutes into it, but felt like 5. I did not have time to enjoy the stuff I was collecting back then. And so with that, I was there, and I understand that, and that's why I was so cheap. That was why I was super ultra cheap collecting back in the day, and I truly get it. The next thing that really, this is the one that's probably people are most vocal about, and yes, it may be the vocal minority online, but they're the most vocal about this. When something sells out lightning fast, an exclusive or something like that, and it sells out lightning fast, and then the only alternative is to go to eBay and pay whatever people are charging, or just live without. Here's the thing. I would have bought it down the road as one of my 8, the 8 exclusives. I wait till there's 8, and then I'll get them all at once from there, if it was still in stock. But I mean, I'm not really upset that I missed it. I can live without it. But other people are just really, really upset about this. And I just think back to myself with the G.I. Joe Classified, wanting to quit it like 6 times because I couldn't get what I was trying to order from them. And I just accept 56 gaps in my collection. And with He-Man, I think I have 91 gaps in my collection because there's 5 different lines just from Mattel alone and 4 other lines from other companies. So it's just, it's crazy. I mean, maybe I got the numbers wrong on that, but like these exclusives make people want to quit. This kills collecting when you can't get something that you want like this. They hype it up, massive hype train, and then people don't get it. And I got to tell you, like the last 20 things that I missed out on, I like my life's like a freight train. I don't even look back. I'm like, I don't care. I missed it. Okay. There's 47 other items I'm looking at right now. Let's try to get that down to 12. And that's just the way my world works. And I don't dwell on this. But some people do. But some girls do. Now I'm going to cover this in my news. But Monday's the 10th. If you have premium, which I re-upped my premium because I don't want to get all mad and upset. And I'll be at my computer the second I have to be ready to go. But here's the tip if you don't want to get mad like that and miss out on an exclusive. Whatever it may be. Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, Marvel Legends, or whatever. They say it's going live. And there's a countdown ticker on these things. So you can be there the second it goes up. Be logged in. Check out through PayPal. So you got between now and then, because PayPal is significantly faster. It autofills everything for you. And get it right away. And then if you really want it, do the premium. And since I re-upped my premium, I'm going to get a few more of these, which sounds stupid, but I'm going to get a few more things than I would have ordered because I paid the $50 in the premium. That's more psychological nonsense that's going on with how they do the things. But my friends that haven't re-upped their premium don't even want anything from here. So I was going to get them some stuff too. But anyway, that's my tip to not let this happen to you in the future. Missing out on exclusives. Be there at the 5 minutes early. Be ready. Be logged in. Check out through PayPal. Get it in your cart. Check out through PayPal. Oh, and by the way, if you have premium, just pick what do you want the most. Get it first. Do a second transaction for the other thing. Don't try to get them all in one transaction. That's the other thing. Don't get them all in one transaction. I'm going to hit the Fatal Fluffies first. Then I'm going to bounce over. And I'm going to get the Ghostbuster. And that's it. Alright, so collecting really isn't dead. But it's dying. It is. It's slowing down at a slower pace. People are jumping off the train faster than other people are jumping on the train. And there's a whole lot of reasons for that I've discussed in here. But guess what? I didn't discuss every reason. Now, I am curious what people think about this topic. Even though I've covered it 3 more times in the past. I've been doing this for 8 years now. And this is, I think, the biggest slowdown I have seen in those 8 years. So what do you think about all of this? What's your take on this? And what other points did I leave off? Because evidently this is not going to be all inclusive. There's going to be more stuff that I missed, more reasons people quit, more reasons people tap out. And I'd like to hear from you. Let's have a great Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I hope I'm not too much of a bummer. Try to hang her out.